YouTube, and so that you can actually watch this later if you needed to, or if you wanted somebody else to watch it. And we'll give that link at the end. Today, our speaker is Bridget Moroso Amon.
Morstro Amon.
Amon. And see, the last name I had a long or a short A. Okay, and she is with the Ada County Extension Office through ISU. I mean, excuse me, University of Idaho. And she teaches a lot of these home skill classes and a lot of the health classes and whatever. And I'm going to let you go on with your introduction and start us off.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Welcome, everyone. I know some of you were on yesterday for the air frying, full of hot air class, and I did an introduction, but my name is Bridget Morstro Amon, and I am the Family Consumer Science Educator with the University of Idaho for Ada County. And what an FCS, or a Family Consumer Science Educator, is, it used to be called a home economist, like your home ec teacher. I think several of us, I actually had a home ec teacher in junior high here in Boise. I grew up here in Boise, moved out to the country for a little bit, and now I'm back in Boise in this position. I teach health, nutrition, and food safety programs. So some of the food safety program is really our master, it used to be called Master Food Preserver. It's Master Food Safety, where I train volunteers who go out and teach people how to safely can, freeze, dry, pressure can food. I also do a lot of health and nutrition classes, sometimes specialty classes like the air frying or the cooking under pressure, which is about the electronic pressure cookers, whatever the most modern appliances and equipment that people are using. I'll teach classes, kind of one-time classes. And then another very large area is my health and nutrition, which is the diabetes prevention program. So I am the lead for the diabetes prevention program with the University of Idaho Extension, and we have several coaches here in Southwest Idaho that I worked with the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare to train and get the program started. So today's presentation is really to tell you a little bit about what diabetes prevention is, what type 2 diabetes is and how you can prevent it, and then let you know about a healthy lifestyle program that we offer through the University of Idaho Extension. There's also some other people that offer it, some hospitals, some health departments, but really to give you guys some awareness and some education about it. So if you have questions, please hold them, and at the end we will answer those questions. I also have my colleague Nikki Telford on, and she is also, we are both certified healthy lifestyle coaches through the CDC, able to deliver the diabetes prevention program and work with individuals to prevent type 2 diabetes. And then usually we also have another healthy lifestyle coach, Lachelle Grigg, who's an RD MS graduate from the University of Idaho as well. And we've also hired her, and she does teach and coach some of our diabetes prevention programs. So to get started, I'm going to share my screen. Are you guys able to see the screen?
We can see it.
Okay, great. Let me know at any time if you can't hear or see me. That occasionally that happens. So this is, like I said, a pre-diabetes information session. And what is pre-diabetes? So according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, it's when blood sugars are higher than normal, yet they're not high enough yet to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. However, we really caution that you don't let the pre-diabetes fool you. Getting a diagnosis or being told that your sugar's a little high or that you have pre-diabetes really is kind of a wake-up call. There's a good news to it and bad news. Bad news is, yes, you're on your way to type 2 diabetes. The good news is that you're still in the pre-diabetic. So there's something you can do about it. And we're going to talk about that. And you really need to know that that pre makes you more at risk to develop type 2 diabetes. It also makes you more at risk to develop heart disease and for stroke. So that's really a red flag, but it's also an opportunity. So according to the CDC, about 84 million American adults have prediabetes. And the really scary thing is that 90% don't know they have it. So it's about 1 out of every 3 adults are pre-diabetic. And what's really alarming is that they don't know. Either 1, they haven't gone to the doctor and haven't been checked, or 2, they were told that they really didn't realize what that meant, that they had pre-diabetes. They're not really aware of it. So what causes pre-diabetes? This is one of the things that people, and type 2 diabetes. So it has to do with insulin, which is the hormone made by your pancreas. And it's when your body doesn't respond to insulin normally, it becomes insulin resistant. And so then the pancreas makes more insulin. Eventually the pancreas can't keep up, and then blood sugar stays high in the blood, and it doesn't go into your cells. So I'm going to show a video that gives a little more detail about this and explains it a little bit more. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
No.
Not yet. We just still see you.
Okay. Let's see here. Share sound. Okay, here we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Here we go.
From Diabetes What to Know. I'm Ansley from Diabetes What to Know, and I'm here today to answer a question that many people have. What is diabetes? Diabetes is a condition that makes it hard for your body to properly process sugar. Believe it or not, sugar, which is also called glucose, is the food that fuels all living things. Every cell in your body burns glucose for energy. This fuel is what allows you to think, move, even make your heart beat. But too much glucose in your blood over a long period of time can slowly cause damage to your arteries and nerves that can eventually result in complications of diabetes. So how does that happen? And what causes diabetes in the first place? Because our program is designed primarily for people with type 2 diabetes, which accounts for 90% of all diabetes cases, I'm going to focus on what happens there. But you should also know that there are 2 other kinds of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that causes the body to attack its own insulin production system. And there's also gestational diabetes, a kind of temporary diabetes that strikes some pregnant women. Type 2 diabetes is a chronic, progressive illness. That means it never goes away, and untreated, it will gradually get worse as time goes by. To understand what happens in type 2 diabetes, you need to learn a little about how your body works. Your body digests the food you eat into simple sugars, amino acids, and fats that are then absorbed into your bloodstream. Glucose is one of those simple sugars, and to move that glucose out of the blood and into the cells where it can be used for energy, your body uses a hormone called insulin. In people with type 2 diabetes, though, the body becomes resistant to insulin, which means your body doesn't use insulin effectively. To do that job of moving glucose out of your blood and into your cells, your body needs more and more insulin. Eventually, the pancreas, which makes insulin, just wears out. And without enough insulin, glucose starts building up in your blood. When you consistently have too much glucose in your blood, you have diabetes. So what causes this insulin resistance? We really don't know. However, it seems that genetics and environmental factors are triggers. We do know that it runs strongly in families. If one of your parents had type 2 diabetes, you have a strong chance of developing it yourself. Beyond the underlying genetics that set people up for diabetes, we know that weight and age can set the process in motion. Type 2 diabetes develops most often in middle-aged and older people who are also overweight, although it's important to note that not everyone with type 2 diabetes is overweight. And that's the basics of diabetes. Understanding what's happening in your body with diabetes is the first step. Now it's time to start learning about how you can live a long, healthy life with diabetes, and we have lots of videos that will help you do just that. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Okay, so that gave you a little bit of information about what type 2 diabetes is and how it becomes an issue. So there's 2 things that happen. One, your cells start becoming resistant. So they don't allow the insulin to open up the cells to let the glucose go into your body to be used for energy. So that glucose stays in your bloodstream. The second thing that happens is as your body starts to produce more insulin, it starts wearing out the pancreas where it's producing too much. So 2 things are happening. One, you're becoming resistant to where the cells don't unlock and let the insulin and the glucose come in. And then 2, your pancreas gets tired and stops producing. So it's a 2-part and kind of what happens with type 2 diabetes. But the good news, and we'll talk a little bit more about that now. Let me see if I can get it to come back up. Share screen. Is that, and we talked about it in the video, she talked about some of the risk factors. So being overweight, being older. So once we're 45 years and older, we're more at risk. If we have it in our family, genetics, a parent, brother, or sister with type 2, being physically active less than 3 times a week. So it means being not physically active. So if you're a very sedentary lifestyle and you're not moving very often, you're more at risk to develop prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. Gestational diabetes, so if you had gestational diabetes, or if you gave birth to a 9-pound baby, you're more at risk. If you had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and then also depending on your race and ethnicity, you could be more at risk for type 2 diabetes. So how do you know? There is a diabetes risk test, a pre-diabetes risk test that you can take at this link, and I will share these links. In fact, I might have Nikki just put that link into the chat so you have it, but I also will send out an email with the slides from the class today and the link to this risk test as well as that video so that you can access it later. I know we had a couple people join us just now, so you can go back and look at that and also at the PowerPoints. But you can take this risk test to see if you're at risk for diabetes. So I'm going to click on it and see if it comes up here. Okay, are you able to see it?
Yes.
So here you can take the risk test. You would click on it. It's also in Spanish. And so you can go ahead and click through. Are we in this age? Next. Then you can say yes or no, or if you're not sure, you can say yes or no. So you will click through, and I'm just doing this. I'm going to go ahead and click here.
We have a blank screen.
Oh, you do? Okay. Are you not seeing it?
No.
Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let me restart. Go back. Okay, so when you click on the risk test, you come up with this. You can either just click right here where it says take the risk test. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
Okay, then you'll go ahead and click your age. And then you would click through if you had a mother or family member. If you're not sure, you can click here. I'm just going to click through. You can click whether you're physically active or not. Click your gender. Whether you've been diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Go ahead and click your height. So there's a little bit of all of this. And so then it will tell you if you're at high risk or low risk based on how you answer the questions. And then I'll also give you some tips. So I encourage you, we actually do also have some of these red pamphlets here. And we always, when we're live, we say we can give you some of these. You can take them to your next family reunion or meeting and hand them out to people. Might not be the best party favor, but if you have a family member or someone else that you think may be at risk for prediabetes, I would encourage them to take the risk test and find out. There's also another way to really know if you have prediabetes, and that would be to get some blood tests done with your doctor. The A1C test is one of the best tests to get as far as really knowing where your blood sugar is at. You can also do a fasting blood sugar test. There's a glucose tolerance test, And then you can also do a random blood sugar test. So you can talk with your healthcare provider and see if you can be tested for prediabetes to really know. And I do recommend at least once a year or every other year is the recommendations for getting your A1C tested to see if you are pre-diabetic or where your blood glucose is at. So now what? So if you find out that you are pre-diabetic or at risk for prediabetes, which it's 1 in 3, so it's pretty common. But the good news is that the pre-diagnosis is an opportunity. A lot of people, and I do some dining with diabetes, which is working with individuals that have diabetes, type 1 or type 2. And I've had several people say, we wish we had known. They told us our sugar was a little high or was pre-diabetic. I wish I had known then what I know now, because once you are diabetic, you don't get to reverse it. You can manage it with healthy lifestyle and maybe not have to take medication. But the key is that if you get a pre-diabetes or if you're at risk, you can cut your risk in half with doing the National Diabetes Prevention Program, which is a proven lifestyle change program. And that's what we're going to talk about from here on. This is a program that we deliver, and we've had lots of people. We've had over 200 people take the program, and about 50% of people have stuck with it and have really met their goals and have cut the risk in half of developing type 2 diabetes. So through healthy lifestyle, you can cut your risk without taking medication, without having to go to the doctor. So you can really prevent the onset of type 2 diabetes. So with partnership with the Idaho Diabetes and Prevention Control Program, which is the Idaho Department, through the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, many partners have partnered with them, such as the University of Idaho, to start delivering this program in the community. So kind of outside of the clinical setting, and although some hospitals do offer it as well. So we partnered with the Department of Health and Welfare in 2017 to get trained and to start delivering this education and program. And the curriculum that we use is called Prevent T2. So it's to prevent type 2 diabetes. And it is a healthy lifestyle program that's been researched and studied and delivered through the CDC. And after a 10-year study, they did find the individuals that participated in the program did cut their risk in half and prevented the onset of type 2 diabetes. I'm going to show a video that's going to show you a little bit more about what the program looks like and how individuals that have been in the program, the results and how they feel about it. Let me know if you can see this. Can you see my screen, Nikki?
No.
It's still a blank screen for us.
Okay, I'm going to bring it up now. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
All right, back again, week 13 of our diabetes prevention program, physical activity, yay!
The classes that are part of the National Diabetes Prevention Program work because they have been studied and tested. We have known for some time now, based on really well done research studies, that you can prevent or postpone type 2 diabetes. This is the opportunity for us to implement those findings in a way that the population can experience it.
Tim, looking at how far you've come, what else what else is out there? Where else do you want to go?
In their core 16 weeks of this program, participant will come in and meet once a week with their facilitator in their small group. We'll sit down and we'll discuss one of our 16 lifestyle topics for that day.
I've been pre-diabetic for over 2.5 years, and I've just kind of ignored it because that word pre was there.
I knew that my blood sugar was high. I would watch my diet a little bit and then I would stop, but I didn't do anything consistently on a consistent basis.
There's an issue with the patients not realizing the problem is as bad as it is or as bad as it may become.
chicken burgers and they all had them. So
The first few weeks of the program, we're talking all about fat gram intake, behavior modification, your level of activity and how physically active that you are during the day, and stress management.
Stress management is a very important piece when it comes to lifestyle change. It affects people's eating, it affects people's physical activity, it affects everything that has to do with lifestyle change.
A lot of people think you have to have machines and tracks and things like that to constitute exercise. Well, what we look at in the class is how active are you really throughout the day?
I like to walk early in the morning. It gets your day started, and it's a good little power walk, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything to walk here.
5, 6, 7. Initially, I was in denial about the fact that there's a higher percentage of African Americans affected by diabetes than other ethnic groups. But all around me, friends, family, church members, I was seeing younger and younger people affected by the disease. One of the things that we were required to do was to set a goal of weight loss, set a nutritional goal, because we established what our fat gram content had to be for the day. We were to set in our books exactly how many minutes we were going to exercise every day.
The real success is that people are working together to try to find the solutions and to support each other.
Without the class, I would have never done this on my own because I had tried. I had done every single thing out there that I could think of.
My hope for this program is that many physicians across our community will use this resource as their first line of defense against type 2 diabetes. That's what our program is here for.
This is really the example of what we wish would happen in many fronts, is that the government, the private sector, and the community sector would really join forces and come together to solve these problems.
My patients love the idea of being able to have a program to be healthier going forward. My patients really love that. They're surprised that they can actually get older and be on fewer medications.
I am so excited because I went to the doctor last week. All of my numbers were down, and I am officially no longer pre-diabetic.
There are almost 80 million people that have pre-diabetes. My dream is that in the next few years, it will be easy for people to get access to this program. And ultimately, we will be able to say fewer people are developing type 2 diabetes.
Okay, so that was a little more detail, gives you a little more inside view of what the diabetes prevention program looks like, how it's delivered, the research behind it, and why the CDC has rolled this out nationally and is really supporting it and promoting that we do it out in the communities, because it is proven, it has been successful, and we're seeing it here at the University of Idaho delivering the program. I will say, for me, it has been one of the most rewarding programs that I've been able to deliver as I work with people and watch them change their lifestyles and change their lives, which is pretty phenomenal to be able to work with people and do that. I feel very privileged. So going back to the curriculum, or to the PowerPoint. So with our diabetes prevention program with the University of Idaho, with the onset of COVID, we did go to a online distance learning program, and we utilized the Zoom classroom, which kind of looks like this. These aren't actual participants. This was from a free online images. We wouldn't use actual pictures of our participants because of confidentiality without their permission. But this is kind of how it looks when you get on. So you get to get on an online real-time facilitated Zoom classroom with your participants, just like we're sitting around the table, but we're doing it online. The good things that have happened with this is people are still engaging. We have some people from all around the state that have participated in our online program. You don't have to worry about transportation. You can just log on. What you do need in order to participate is internet access and a computer or tablet, or even with your phone. A lot of people can participate right on their phone with Zoom, like we're doing right now in this class. And if you have an audio and camera is preferred, because this is kind of a group support class. We keep them very small, 10 to 15 people is what we try to shoot for, in order to have that sharing and that peer support. Some other things that happen with the distance learning. So to begin with, we did say it's a year-long program, but it kind of tapers down. So for the first 16 weeks, we meet once a week, and then we go down to every other week. And how it begins is you check in at the beginning of the class. You will submit your weight and your activity minutes with either via private chat, or we'll send you a link to put those in with a number that's not attached to your name. We talk about what went well from the week before, some things to improve on. We help you keep a food diary manually or using an online program like MyFitnessPal or Lose It. We walk you through these things. We teach you how to do this in the classes. And if you are interested, some contact info. So our next online program, and this is kind of a hybrid. We do have some people that want to meet face-to-face. It's going to begin on May 12th. And this one is going to be in the evening at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. If you're interested, or if you know anyone that's interested, they can sign up online at www.uidaho.edu/AdaPay. There is a cost for the program, but we also have scholarships available. So if individuals don't have insurance or they're unable to pay for whatever reason, you can request a scholarship when you go online to pay. And there are 3 of us, like I shared here in Ada County, Lachelle Gregg, myself, and Nikki Tilford, that all are healthy lifestyle coaches that help deliver the program and coach you and facilitate each week. Are there any questions about prediabetes or diabetes in general, or about the program that we offer?
I don't see any in the chat box yet, so I guess not.
Another video that I thought I would share, I didn't share it because I wasn't sure how time would go, but it was fairly quick. I'd like to share one other video that kind of gives you a little more of a view of prediabetes and what happens with it. Let me see if I can get out of here. Okay. Let me see if I can get this to come up and share it with you. Okay. Because I think this gives you a little more of a kind of an anatomical view of what's happening with insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Let's see. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Understanding type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder that causes sugar, in the form of glucose, to accumulate in the blood rather than being used as fuel by the cells in our body. When we eat, food is broken down by our digestive system into nutrient molecules that are then absorbed through our digestive tract for use by the body. Foods containing carbohydrates or various sugars are broken down into glucose. Glucose is an important source of fuel for many organs in our body. However, to be able to use the glucose for fuel, the glucose molecule must first enter into the cell. The pancreas produces a hormone called insulin, a chemical messenger essential for the entry of glucose into cells. As the blood glucose levels rise after a meal, insulin is released into the bloodstream and sets processes in motion to trigger the removal of glucose from the blood to enter into the cells. In type 2 diabetes, the cells become resistant to insulin and ignore its message to absorb glucose. This is known as insulin resistance. In addition, in type 2 diabetes, the pancreas is unable to produce the greater amounts of insulin needed to trigger these resistant cells to take in glucose from the bloodstream. The most notable symptom of diabetes is frequent urination and excessive thirst. Other symptoms include weakness, drowsiness, and blurred vision. These are caused by chemical imbalances in the blood related to high levels of blood glucose. About 1 in 4 people with type 2 diabetes are unaware that they have the disease. It is important to catch diabetes early. Over time, high blood glucose damages the blood vessels, which can damage the organs that these vessels supply, leading to a variety of health complications. Damage to the small or micro blood vessels can cause vision problems, including loss of sight, nerve damage, and kidney disease. Damage to larger or macro blood vessels can lead to cardiovascular complications such as heart disease, stroke, and poor blood circulation. Overweight and inactivity are major causes of diabetes. A family history of diabetes significantly increases your risk of developing the disease. Certain ethnic populations are also at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Finally, some medications may increase your diabetes risk, specifically corticosteroids, thiazide diuretics, drugs used to treat certain mental illnesses, and some antiretrovirals used to treat HIV infection. In summary, type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder. It causes sugar, in the form of glucose, to accumulate in the blood rather than being used as fuel for the cells in our body. If not diagnosed and treated in a timely manner, type 2 diabetes can lead to many health complications.
When our body is working normally, the foods we eat containing proteins, fats, and carbohydrates.
Okay, so sorry to end on that kind of a note, but just to kind of drill home the reasons why it's important to prevent diabetes, why there are complications with diabetes, how it affects our blood vessels and can lead to vision, heart, stroke. That's how it complicates and becomes a much larger issue that's very hard to reverse. And I don't know if you've had individuals in your families or people who have had diabetes and have seen that they get neuropathy. The worst cases lead to kidney failure, also sometimes amputation. So it can become a very complicated chronic disease to manage. And so preventing it is key, and it's definitely the way to go. When Debbie first got on, I was looking at her screen, which I believe that's the Golden Gate behind it.
It is.
And that made me think of a story I like to share, which is another reason why I'm very much dedicated to diabetes prevention. I have an uncle who's a type 1 diabetic, and he is now nearing 90, which is very rare for a type 1 diabetic to live to that age. It's like in the 1 to 5%. But I will tell you what I know about my uncle that has allowed him, not only probably genetics and access to really good healthcare, but his healthy lifestyle. He walks every single day, maintains a very healthy diet and lifestyle. And that is what has allowed him to get to where he's at. And that's with type 1. But the same thing with type 2. With type 2, it's even better. With a healthy lifestyle, you can really prevent it, delay it, and manage it very, very well with a healthy lifestyle. Any questions? Was there anything in the chat, Nikki?
We do have a couple. Kathy wants to know if this is offered in Pocatello, if this class.
So Kathy, I actually have a colleague, Leslie Blanche, she's not in Pocatello, but I believe she's in Idaho Falls, and she did just get trained as a healthy lifestyle coach and is wanting to deliver it. However, I will share with you that I do have 2 participants that are in Northern Idaho that participate in my online program. So anybody would be, with the online program, anybody can participate anywhere throughout the state. But there is one individual that's going to be offering it. And then there's also Up north, I do know Gritman Medical Service offers it, and there's a couple other providers. And I can check with the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare and get you a list of providers for the program.
Also, Jim and Karen Brown want to know if there are any other times that are available for the program, since they're going to be out of town on May the 12th.
So what I can share with you is that we usually start the program twice a year. Myself, I usually offer it because I can't teach 4 and 5 cohorts of the program. I wish I could, but I usually start it at this time, and then I start another series in the fall. But what I can share with you is people can sign up within the first 4 weeks of the program. So even if you miss the first class, you can join the next class. It's a year-long program, and we do realize everybody can't make every class. In fact, even myself, Nikki and I are going to be co-facilitating because the clinic that I'm going to be offering it through wanted me to start this summer, but I already had 2 or 3 things planned this summer, other classes I have to teach, so she'll be jumping in. So individuals, you know, the more you attend and the more you participate, of course, the better you do as far as reaching your goals. But we also realize a year is a long time. People are not going to be able to make every class. We ask them to shoot for, you know, at least 50% or 75% attendance, knowing that things come up and you may miss a class, but we always try to keep in touch with you, send you the handouts, get you the information from the class to follow up.
Okay, I do want to add something that I neglected to say in the beginning, is that New Knowledge Adventure is made up 100% of volunteers. So we have volunteers who teach the class, like Bridget, those who facilitate classes, those who host classes. And we get all of our ideas for classes from individuals just like the participants. And so if you have any ideas for classes, or if you'd like to teach a class, in your chat box, you will see Kathy McDougall, who is our leader at AARP. You'll have her email address so that you can tell her if you want to volunteer to facilitate a class, if you want to teach a class, or if you have a good idea for a class. Bridget, thank you very much for all the wonderful information. We really appreciate what the Extension Service has done for this community and for New Knowledge Adventures. Thanks again.
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you for attending. If you ever have questions about food safety or nutrition and health, you can call Nikki and I here at the office. That's our job, is to provide customer support. And if we don't have the answer, we will look for it and research it for you. So thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Get out and walk. We've all been sitting.
Thank you very much, everyone, for attending.